It's fabulous to be here with you today. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
So Dylan, I want to start by talking about the very beginning. How did you get involved in gaming?
Yeah, I just picked up Fortnite in 2017 when it came out. It was the first game that I really got invested into.
Yeah.
Me and my buddies, we all played it, just like hang out and play every night. It really kind of transitioned though from like gaming and like the gamer sense to like more of the like creating sense when they released their like creative platform in 2018. And that's where I kind of like picked up doing more of the creative and development side of things because it's more interesting to me, and I was able to just be creative and use my imagination.
And a lot of people don't know exactly what user-generated content is and how that applies to you and what you're doing. Can you explain that a bit for audiences who aren't so familiar?
Yeah. So user-generated content is basically like anybody who, even a player or somebody who's not even familiar with like game development, can get in and develop games, and it's not really backed by studios necessarily, and Epic Games or the big studios aren't like developing it themselves. So anybody can get into UGC and see if they can find their footing in that space.
So then you were, and correct me if I'm wrong, then creating your own kind of experience and game within the Fortnite world? Or how does that work? Okay.
Yeah, so they offered this platform, the UGC Fortnite Creative Platform, and I was doing Battle Royale for a while, just playing it and having fun, but I've always had hobbies and I've always had like, side hustles.
Yeah.
So when, Creative released, I just got dug into it and then tried to like, it was very simple at the time, so I was able to like kind of pick things up slowly and teach myself how to make a game.
Very cool. And talk to me about the business side of that. So do people pay you to play that, or how does the revenue share work there?
It's interesting. The revenue share, like we can't sell anything in games. We only just try to attract people to our games to like play. We try to get them to play as long as possible, and Epic monetizes that through this model that came out probably 6 months ago, where we're paid based on our playtime and the amount of players that we have and stuff like that. So we can't sell anything yet. We can't directly monetize, but we get to have a cut of like what Epic brings in through their item shop and through whatever they're selling.
So you started, that's a very entrepreneurial thing within just kind of a very niche group.
Yeah.
Then how did you go from, I know you were a nurse, how did you then go from that to the company that you're building today? Tell me about that journey.
Oh my gosh. Well, I was a nurse. I was first in the trauma ICU. And then when COVID came around, I was switched into the COVID ICU, which ended up being, it was an experience for sure. I started to get like a little bit burnt out after like 6-7 months of that. I was like throwing my back out. I couldn't walk every like 2 months. So I was like knowing that I needed to change. And I had been doing Fortnite on the side just as a little hobby kind of thing. And so around May of 2021, I decided like I'm gonna take a month off from nursing, kind of just like regroup and like get myself back on track. And a week after I decided to do that, Epic Games, they hit me up. They'd messaged me and said, hey, we really like your stuff. We want you to help us develop some concerts for us. So I was like, okay, well, I'll take 4 or 5 months off from nursing and explore that. And then about a week after that, a legendary YouTube gamer named Ali A, he messaged me and he was like, hey, I like your stuff. Would you help me develop games? So that was kind of like the signal that I needed to like fully jump into this. And after about 3-4 months of just doing it full time, I started to like be able to identify like where players would want to play, and it led me to launching some games that have gotten pretty successful and helped me to want to create like something bigger, and that's kind of how it led to me forming a company and trying to grow that way.
What are some of those games that you created that are so big today?
The biggest one currently is called Go Goated. It's basically like on Fortnite's platform. It's teams of 4, and 4 teams, they kind of just battle it out to be the last team standing. It's simple, it's fast paced, and players come back and have fun.
Very cool. So now talk to me about your new company, name of it, and what you're doing.
Yeah, so it's called Good Gamers. The idea behind it is like, we wanted to approach the development side of games from like more of like a marketing and organization focused. So we have Good Gamers, and those are our marketing and influencers and content creators. and we bring them into the team because they are the people who can reach a lot of people. And so they're awesome. They're helping us build a community. But then on the back end, we have people like me and a couple others that I've brought on who develop the good games. So it's like good gamers, good games, GGs, because GGs is what a lot of gamers say like after they finish playing. So
what is it? Does it just mean
it's
good
just
game?
good game? Yeah, just means good game. Yep.
Very cool. Okay, I got to use that next time I play Mario Kart.
Yeah.
So is your competition then like the Epic Games of the world, or who would you say is your competition, and how are you standing out?
That's a good question. I mean, it's a very competitive space. There's people all over the world because it's user-generated content. People all over the world are developing games. There's anyone from like 18 to people in their 60s developing games on this platform, and everybody has different skill sets too. So me not coming from like a formal game development background, I've been trying to like pick things up really quickly and trying to like figure out who I should work with to help us become more competitive and maintain a competitive edge in that space. And we are competing with Epic technically now as well, since they have their Battle Royale game, and then we also have the creative side of things that we're kind of sharing players and passing players back and forth too.
Yeah. Are you nervous about going up against these bigger incumbents?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I just like not so much nervous, but like just want to kind of stay focused on what I believe like is going to be like our next big games, and like what we're doing with our influencers and our developers and our community that we're building. So not so much nervous, just like want to do it properly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And speaking of influencers and creators, how are you using, the social media and creator economy to help propel your business?
Well, I use it myself a lot. I have YouTube and TikTok and stuff like that, and I use TikTok all the time to market my own stuff or my team stuff. So I have like 400,000 followers there, and so that's helped me to like reach a lot of people there. But on top of that, like every single person we have on the team, they all have this unique like group of followers that somebody has like 1 million on Twitter, somebody has millions on YouTube or on TikTok and stuff. So everybody's kind of like coming together to like bring our games to different communities of players, which has been really cool.
Very cool. And you've taken on no outside funding, correct?
Not yet, no.
How has that been then, building a business, just bootstrapping it?
Yeah, it's been interesting. I mean, I'm very blessed to have the game that I have that I mentioned, Go Goated, and that one has hovered, as one of the top games for a while. And so it has been able to fund like these ideas that I've wanted to kind of implement, and kind of like you said, bootstrapping. Like I have something successful, but I want to bring on 10, 15 people, and I'm lucky to be able to do that with what I have.
Would you be open to taking on VC investments in the future, or is that something you want to stay away from?
No, I'm definitely interested in it. I'm learning a lot about it as well, and definitely would be interested in it. I would want to make sure that if I did accept money, like I'd want to know and like be very confident in like what I was going to be able to use it for, and like how I was going to implement it to help us grow and scale up and stuff like that.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I want to get a sense of the scale of your business. Are you able to talk to me about users or customers or anything of that sort?
Yeah. Well, since we can't sell anything, we don't have customers yet, but we have plenty of users. The game Go Goated, that one reaches between 800,000 and 1 million players every day, and has over 750 million plays total. And then for our team, we're doing really well as well. We launched like 6 or 7 months ago, and we already have, I think, 4 games that are totaling over 500,000 players a day.
Wow.
So we've reached over 100 million unique players since I started in early 2020.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's kind of grown a lot.
It's definitely grown.
Yeah. Yeah.
What has been the most challenging part of running your company?
There's a lot of challenges. It's players are playing all day, all around the world, and we're on a platform where, we are developing in line with like Epic as they're developing as well. So, kind of like being available at all times and being ready to kind of like jump in, fix a game that might break, or kind of using the ecosystem in the best way. For example, we may push updates at 3 a.m. So I'll be like setting my alarm, waking up and pushing an update at 3 a.m. because there's not a lot of people playing at that time. And if something's broken, we have to be able to fix it. So I think, that's one of the challenges is kind of being available all the time. Other challenges are just like, it's just a learning curve. When I started 4 years ago, it was more simple, but now Epic's given us like the entire tool set that they use for Unreal Engine, which is used by big studios and movies and animation companies and all that stuff. So it's got a lot of tools. And so we've just been like fast paced, like trying to learn everything and trying to implement things in the right way to, give players the best experience.
Interesting. So now where do you see this company going in the future? Because you've worked independently to create a game. You now have a company.
Yeah.
What's next for you? What's next for the company?
Yeah, I think we are going to definitely look at like scaling up. Right now, we have a few of us doing a lot of stuff, and so ideally we want to bring on some new people to the team to help kind of offload some of this work and allow us to scale up in a way that nobody's overworking themselves or nobody's like getting burnt out or anything like that.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, I mean, there's a lot of people in this gaming space where I would like to be able to invest in them as well, and see, I've had some people bring me these ideas, and I think it's a great idea. And coming from like being a nurse, not formerly a game developer, when somebody brings me an idea that I think is their vision for what they want to do, I think it's cool to be in a position where I could potentially like partner with them or like work with them to like help them, make that happen for themselves too. So I think we'll try to do that.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Do you think that there's ever a world in which you'd consider selling your company, maybe to an Epic or an Activision Blizzard or something like that? And if so, what would it take?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I've been approached before about it, and the hard part about it is it's like my baby. Like I put like so much time and effort into it over the past 2-3 years, so it's hard to let go of. But at the end of the day, like I'm also open to business and stuff like that. So as long as I knew that a company was going to come in and they had the right assets and they had the right ideas and they were going to take care of it and help it to grow, like that would kind of be what I would look at.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Is there one business rule that you always operate by no matter what?
Honestly, yeah. Like what I like to do is I like to do right by people. So I work with a lot of people, a lot of like younger people or less like they're not like professionals in what they do. And so sometimes people like, hey, I'll do this for you, I'll do that for you. And I'm like, no, like anybody who works for me, like I gotta make sure like you are compensated like however you need to be. And I think that's like helped us to grow like in a way that like people trust like what I'm doing and what we're doing as a team. And it's opened a lot of doors with who we've gotten to work with.
Now, some of the things I hear from the older generation who doesn't quite understand, the gaming space, is that, this is just a hobby. This is not a career.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've probably heard that from a lot of people in your life. How have you dealt with that? And do you have any advice for people in the gaming industry who are dealing with that?
That's a good question. I mean, it is a hobby for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But I think just like with so many hobbies, like if you are passionate about something and you are, a little bit savvy, like you can turn a hobby or a passion or whatever into a business for yourself. So, I mean, my answer to that would be like this space has hundreds of millions of people playing, like every year, every day, millions and millions of players, and it's constantly growing. So, it can be more than a hobby if you want it to be.
Yeah. Excellent. Anything else that's exciting in the pipeline that you could share with us that's coming up in 2024?
2024, yeah. I mean, I think we're going to continue to build our communities, build our games out, and we really want to like grow our footprint in like the Fortnite creative space, not just in like the gaming sense, but like in the entire like community sense. So as we're growing, we're looking for people to partner with to help us have more like social profile or more like business front. So like, can we, do merch? Can we build like brands around our games and kind of like scale those games up to be almost like bespoke games that are like their own entity, not necessarily like a Fortnite Fortnite creative game, but like its own thing. So I think that's kind of where we're going to try and take it, and just try to like build small teams around each of these games and try to grow as we go.
What are some of your favorite games besides Fortnite that you grew up playing?
I have a lot of nostalgia for some games, so stuff like Super Mario World on the Super Nintendo, Luigi's Mansion, Donkey Kong, games like that, because I played all those growing up, and me and my friends, we have a lot of great memories from, sitting in my basement doing that. And then I kind of stepped away from gaming for, high school and stuff like that, played soccer and stuff. So coming back into it, like I look back on those games, I'm like, man, we had such a good time playing those when we were like 6 or 7,
So it's really hard to go from just being a nurse to then taking the dive into entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Was there one specific thing that convinced you that you could do it, and what advice would you have for people facing similar situations?
Yeah, I think that's a lot of people who want to get into this, like they probably face that as well. And so I think for myself, there's a point that you get to where you're like, I think this is the right thing to do. This is something that I believe in, and your kind of like your fear of the unknown is like holding you back. So it kind of is just like that point where I'm going to commit to something and I'm not going to look back. And for me, that was when I decided I'm not going to renew my nursing license. I'm going to just commit to what I'm doing, and I'm going to give it my all. And I think the other thing with that is like, talking to the people that you're close with and telling them your vision and telling them, and they can probably see how like passionate you can be about something. So for me, that was my wife. She was very, very supportive of me when I was like sitting on a bar stool in our living room making these games on my PlayStation. She didn't really give me like any like pushback, just supported me through it, and it's changed our lives. So yeah, I'd say just like be confident in yourself, and have a clear vision of what you want, and then you just have to take that step, take that leap of faith and commit to it, and good things can come from that.
Great. And last one for you. What would you like your legacy to be?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think I'd like my legacy just like to be, with my friends, family, and, people who know me personally, just that I was like a supportive, like role in their lives, and like a good, like person to, I guess be friends with, I think the thing is like most people know me for my games. They don't really know me, I'm happy to have that, because if I'm giving them good experiences, I think my legacy, I'd like for those people to be, when they look back 20 years from now, they look back the way I did on the games that I grew up with, and they say, wow, like we met some really great people, maybe made some lifelong friends through the games that, I've developed. And it's happened a few times. I've run into some people who have met and have these great memories from the games that like I've had a hand in making.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Dylan. I appreciate
thank
it.
you.